Good morning, world. On the forecast today, we have sunny skies and a clear vision. Thank you for tuning in to 1111 Alpha Femme, and have a great day.
I am an unconventional person. Everything about what I believe is a little different.
Hello, gorgeous human beings of the Unconventional Master Course. How are you feeling today? There's people from all over the place. Greece, this is so fun. What's going on? I'm witnessing an unboxing here from Amy. It was a slow motion unboxing. Oh my gosh. And I love Michael's response to my everything. So happy to see you. I love your energy. So, to those of you who come on here with the greatest energy, I just need to tell you how pleasant and fabulous it is for me to get to see your reactions in your faces. It's always so lovely for me. So thank you for that. All right. So today is a really important piece of the puzzle, in my opinion, because I want to share something. Again, we're going to go in a little bit of like vulnerability and a little bit of behind the scenes storytelling here. One thing that I always thought is that by the time I would be at a certain level of success, there would be certain things that would just have happened. There's a way it was going to be, even when I thought before ever making $1 million, the thought of $1 million was like, I'll be world famous by the time I make $1 million. Everybody's going to know who I am. If I'm a millionaire, like a millionaire in the coaching industry, everybody's going to know who I am. At that point, I'll have probably written books. I'll probably have been on some sort of, The Secret or something like that. I'll be world renowned. Like, once you're a millionaire, you made it. I'll have help, I'll have support, I'll have everything. Like, it's going to be so easy when I get there. Like, that was the thought about becoming a millionaire. And it was such an interesting thing because the first time we did $1 million in the Alpha Femme brand, it was in 2018. And the year took a turn that I did not expect. So if you can imagine this for yourself, who here has ever had in their life, and this, I know this is like a big amount still. So for some of you, you're like, not yet, that's fine. Who here has ever had a $20,000 month? If you've ever had a $20,000 month, say yes in the chat box below. So, okay, we've had quite a few people here who've had $20,000 months. So if you've never had a $20,000 month, you can let this inspire you. This is pretty amazing. If you haven't, not yet is the perfect answer. Very much like that. So look at all these $20,000 months, right? So I want you to imagine if you had a $20,000 month, and whether it's from coaching or any traditional business, whatever it is, doesn't really matter. Just have you ever made $20,000 in a month? Now, I want you to imagine this scenario. January, I make $20,000 in a month. February, 20-something thousand dollars in a month. March, 20-something thousand dollars a month. April, 30,000. May, 30-something thousand. June, 40-something thousand. July, 50,000. August, 100,000. And then 98,000, and then 150,000, 170,000, 100. And then next thing you know, 14 minutes before midnight, we cross 1 million for the year. Now, what blew my mind is that that's not the way it was supposed to happen. I had already made a plan for how this was going to happen. It was a very, very logical plan. This is how it was going to go. It was going to go like this. I was going to build up my capacity until I was making $84,000 a month. And then I was going to make $84,000 a month every month for 12 months. And then bingo, million. That was the plan. That was the plan. And so the end of the year took me entirely by surprise. I was not prepared for it. And by the time we made that million, my entire family did not even believe that it had happened. We celebrated at the New Year's Eve party. And I was like, oh my gosh, my company just crossed $1 million for the year. And my whole family went like this. Like, is it like, and I'm like, no, like for real. And they were like, oh my gosh. And then it was like a cheers, but I could feel the energy in the room was like, what? It was impossible. Later on, my mom actually said to me, when you said that night that your business had crossed $1 million, I thought, oh no, my daughter is a liar. She's lost the plot. It was impossible. How the heck? That doesn't make any sense. And I remember being so excited about that $1 million, so excited. And then I woke up the next morning and I opened my PayPal, because everything I used to make all my money on PayPal. And I opened my PayPal account and it was like year to date, because now it was 2019, because I hit it 14 minutes before midnight. Now it was the 1st of January and it said year to date, $0. And I was just like, uh-oh. What if we never do this again? Like, I've just now celebrated, like, this is our first $1 million year. I'm like, why did I say first? I should have just said, I don't know what I was thinking. Like, in the moment when it happened, it felt like we could do it again. You know what I mean? Like, it felt like possibilities were endless. And all it took was the next morning for me to feel like, oh no. What if we don't do this again? And so 2019 was an interesting year because I was in a lot of fear in 2019. My feeling was very much like, how do I do this again? It was not just let's keep going. It was, how do I do this again? That was the entire energy. And so focusing so heavily on being a match for that $100,000 month. And it was so odd because all of a sudden that $100,000 month that felt so exciting in 2018, in 2019 didn't feel exciting. It felt like, oh, thank gosh. Every time we hit it, like, oh, thank gosh. It didn't have that expansive, oh my gosh, feeling. It had this like, oh, thank goodness. Okay, we did it. Okay. And so we ended that year at 2.5 million. But if you think about it, it's just a very logical number to hit, because we were basically just had, 100 to 180 or whatever thousand, 100, 160 is 2 million a year, 160 some, 170. And so we were around 100 to 200 and some every month, less than 200. I never hit 200 that year. And we ended the year at 2.5 million. I don't remember crossing 2 million. That's a lie. I don't remember crossing 2 million, but what I do remember is we threw a big party. And at this point, the only people that were working was me, Emmanuelle, and Shannon. It was the three of us. Vanessa had just started doing transcription for us. Like, she was transcribing stuff. It was the beginning of the beginning of the beginning of the beginning. And so we crossed this $2 million milestone. We did this big party and I couldn't believe we'd done it again. I was so proud. We finished the year 2.5 million and it was like, this is it. And so the next year is 2020 and we're going in a very similar trajectory. It was like a few $100,000 a month. And so the first month was $100,000 a month, and the second month was $100 and something thousand a month, all numbers we'd done before. And we wanted to celebrate. We wanted to go to Hawaii. And I took Emmanuelle to Hawaii with her family and her kids. Like, we got these beautiful, beautiful homes, and she came with her kids. It was amazing. Vanessa came with her husband. Shannon came over and we went to Maui and we had these incredible memories in Hawaii. And it was like, what is my life? Like, pinch me, pinch me, pinch me. We did it again. And so nobody knows at this point that I'm successful. Like, I matter zero. Like, I want you to understand, I walk into a restaurant and I'm treated the exact same way I was treated when I made $50,000 a year. I go anywhere and there is nothing about me whatsoever that has changed. At this point, I have yet to get excited about designer stuff. I don't have any luxury clothes. I don't care about that stuff. I care about experiences. But no one knows that nobody thinks I matter. Nobody knows I matter. I'm just blown away by the whole thing. And I want to treat the people I love to extraordinary energy and extraordinary experiences. But I'm the same person. I can't explain it. It's like there is nothing about me where I would walk into a room and people would think this person's rich. That just doesn't happen. And so we're now in Hawaii. Kevin and I go to this beautiful hotel in Oahu, the two of us, and it's called the Halekulani Hotel. And it is pristine and beautiful and gorgeous and out of this world stunning. And we walk in there and I'm so grateful. And we get into the elevator and everybody's so beautiful. And then I don't know why, but I had this energy, like everyone was kind of looking at my feet. And so I looked down in the elevator and I saw these beautiful shoes. One woman was wearing Hermes shoes. I remember that. And then I was wearing Skechers. And I could feel that they were looking at my fukus in disdain. And I had this moment of like, uh-oh, this is not fair. I'm gonna walk you through my breakthrough. My thought was not, they're judging me and I'm not good enough. My thought was, this isn't fair. I look around me and I see beauty everywhere. I look around me and not only is the place beautiful, but the people are. I could take a picture of this hotel lobby and there is not one thing I would need to avoid and the picture would be perfect. Everybody here enhances the experience of the room. And then there's me. I take from this beauty, but I don't add to it at all. It's not fair. It's not right. I'm not part of the decor. When you imagine going to like Monaco and you imagine everybody's dressed in white and they've got the beige hats on and they've all got the things, like that's part of the vision of the beauty. You show up there and someone's wearing a bright red something with blue shoes and blue, or something that doesn't fit, you'll maybe even try to avoid them in the shot. Like it'll change your experience of the aesthetic. And I realized in that moment, I do not give people the experience of beauty that they give me. And I said to Kevin, we need to go shopping. And we went into Louis Vuitton and I bought myself for the first time Louis Vuitton shoes. And I can remember having a very hard time comprehending the fact that I would walk on $1,000. Like these are going to touch the floor. They're going to get dirty. I'm going to walk on rocks. I was walking weird. I was walking like this. I did not scratch them, like, then I got these Louis Vuitton earrings. And I got this larger than life Louis Vuitton necklace. And I don't know if you guys remember, there was this exponential wealth class that I did with this huge LV necklace. I was not yet able to wear jewelry. Jewelry wore me. I had no style. I was just trying it on for size, trying to be choosing colors that fit with the style, actually looking like what would be something that if I took a picture, I wouldn't want to move out of the way. I wouldn't want to cut this person out of the shot if they were wearing that. That was my first awareness to fashion. It was like, can I at least wear something that if I were in the room watching me, I wouldn't want to cut me out of the shot. That was the first standard. And so it started that way. And I started realizing how very little I cared about my presence in a room. Up until then, everything I had built was for you, for us. It was, I take care of my clients. I take care of the people I love. I take care of everybody and everything. Yes, the Louis Vuitton shoes were extremely comfortable. Thank goodness for that. About 2 pairs. Everything was for you, for us. And I thought it was beautiful to do that until I realized that it's actually not fair to do that, because it's in every person's experience of themselves, it's in everybody's self-responsibility that they create their piece of the puzzle on this planet. Your attitude, your energy, your beauty, your magnetism, your style, your everything is your contribution to the room, to the planet, to the conversation, to the relationship. And until then, all I'd cared about is everybody else. And it started to sink in. I matter in the room. 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 I actually really matter in the room. And
this is the first time this like for me, for you, for us thing really started coming out of my mouth. And I realized if I took care of my presence, the room got better and things started to change. Now, what was very interesting, and I remember this moment of like, where did I get it from? That it's better for me to not care about me. Where did I get it from? That it's like, good for me. Good for me that I put everybody first. I'm a good person. Like, where does that come from? And I remember thinking about it so much and wondering, like, was I taught this? Nobody told me I didn't matter. Nobody told me, make sure you take care of everybody else and don't take care of yourself. Like, no one said those words. Where have I picked this up? And I realized a lot of it was watching people that did it maybe the wrong way to me, like that put themselves so much first that I felt like I was like, I don't want to do it like that. So I did the opposite. I don't know if it was like watching movies where the kind person is the super overgiving person, and one day something magical happens to that person. Cinderella has the, oh my gosh, Sarah, I wrote that the same time you wrote that. Cinderella has the glass slipper moment, and you know, it's like this fairy tale experience that Snow White gets the dwarves to find her a prince, and Aladdin finds a lamp, and you know, everybody gets a big break if you're a good enough person. You be the diamond in the rough, you be the one, and then eventually then someone picks you up and changes your life. And so I think even though I was doing such incredible things, and even though I was a lot of people's fairy godmother, going bibbity, bobbity, boo, and enjoying going, and here's vacation, and here's this, and here's that, and here's this, and here's that, making people's dreams come true. My experience was waiting for a fairy godmother. I wasn't really claiming my own thing. And when I really thought about it, what I realized is that I did not think success would feel the way it felt. I was waiting for someone to figure it out that I mattered, and like, I wanted to just be eventually successful enough that I might walk into a room and people be like, oh, it's Melanie Ann Layer. Like, pull out the red freaking carpet, you know? Prince Ali, Melanie, Alibaba, like she's here, you know? Pull the chair out, give her the, you know, cue the animals. Where are my elephants? Like, bring me something. I don't know. Someone be proud of me. I did a magical, miraculous thing. I remember thinking, I'm probably the wealthiest person in this room. How does it not matter? I thought this would matter more. How come it doesn't matter more? It was such an odd experience of having put money on a pedestal for all my life, thinking rich people get treated different. No, they don't. Not the people who just have money and nothing else. And a lot of people have just money and nothing else. So there was this moment of like, okay, hang on a minute. If I want this experience of I made it, then I probably have to like claim it somehow. It's going to have to happen. What do I need in order to give myself permission for this? And it became so clear. It was just like, I have to decide that I matter big. Like, I've got to decide whatever it is. Like, I'm a celebrity. I'm a success. I matter. I belong here. Like, whatever it is I need to tell myself, nobody's going to tell me this. I'm going to have to do it for myself. And the identity work began. And it caused a lot of problems in my business because a lot of people really loved me being bibbity bobbity boo, the invisible coach. It's like I had still built Alpha Femme being invisible. I was the puppeteer. I was the one behind the scenes. And as soon as I started really showing myself, a lot of people who preferred me in the background got really upset. Thinking I actually had clients tell me I stole their spotlight. And I was like, how is it okay for you to say that to me? What have I created that you think it would be ever okay to say that? Like, no. And I realized how much I had hidden and how much I just made myself not matter in this whole equation. And so it was a very difficult thing. They weren't pretending all they learned. They just learned it from a person who wasn't fully, it's like, I have to take responsibility for also who I was. I positioned myself like a fairy godmother, and they learned as a Cinderella. Like, they went in thinking the fairy godmother would change things. The fairy godmother did, but they just didn't expect fairy godmother to do a pirouette and turn into the hottest girl at the party and run away with the prince. You know what I mean? Because that's not the storyline. The storyline is the little fairy godmother is a chubby little granny with a wand who makes Cinderella look like a princess, and then she disappears. And Cinderella goes to the ball and banks the prince. What happens when Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo ends up turning up at the ball and she's a part of the equation? All of a sudden it's like, whoa, this Cinderella story wasn't supposed to have you be on the dance floor. You're supposed to do the magic and go home. You're not supposed to show up at the party. I'm Cinderella. You need to leave. You can't be here and fancy and magic. This is not part of the deal. I hired a fairy godmother. You're not being fairy godmother. So it's not like anybody was wrong, and everybody was in response to who I had been, but it was a very painful experience to realize. But I was like, well, I taught people how to not value my presence. I taught people to value my invisible self. I taught people to love how much I gave and never showed up anywhere. I taught people to be so grateful that they knew me, but I was their best kept secret, that I was a tool for their shine. I taught people to do that. And then there was a whole internal battle. Am I even allowed to claim it now? Maybe it's too bad. Maybe it's too late. Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe now it's my own fault. I set this up. Maybe I need to stay this way forever. And I had a very big difficulty back and forth with myself. Like, am I actually allowed? And it caused a lot of disruption in my life, in my head, in my spirit, with my clients, my business. Like, there was this huge pull. But something quite spectacular happened. All of a sudden, I really took my business seriously. I took myself seriously. I took my life seriously. I took my brand seriously. I took my business seriously. And I declared, I am going to make this a huge deal. And all of a sudden, the company started going from $100,000 and some months to $300,000 to $500,000 months. And I was like, whoa. People were coming in, and they were coming in fast, and they were coming in hungry, and they were coming in hot. And my whole life felt like it was changing. And I remember the first time it was like, I think we're going to have a $1 million month. I almost had a panic attack. I was like, no, it's not possible. How does this happen? Like, how did we had $1 million month. And I was like, how am I ever going to do that again? And then we had $1 million week. And then another $1 million month, and then all of a sudden there was too many millions to even have a party about it. I had cracked some sort of code, but something also started to happen on the flip side, and this I was not prepared for. The amount of projection on the other side was something I had never experienced at this level before. More people finding me so fast, not really getting to know me and love me and celebrate me, people who hadn't seen the entire journey, people who hadn't seen the unfolding, and all of a sudden just meeting me. She's not good enough. She's not pretty enough. She's not cool enough. She's not trendy enough. She's not skinny enough. She's not the depiction of what we're expecting to see. No. We don't like it. We don't like it. We don't like the vibe. We don't like we don't like the way she looks in the camera. We don't like the way she does it. We don't like, no. And I was like, oh my God, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can handle the bad as much as the good. I don't know if I can do all this. And then there was a need for another identity shift. I can handle this. I get it. I can handle this. I can do it. I can do it. And so the next year, every month were $1 million months or multi-million-dollar months. I bought this incredibly beautiful house, and it was ended up being one of the most impactful like real estate purchases in my area, because I'm not from a very big town, and I ended up in the newspaper, and the people in Quebec started to just tear me apart in the online forums of the newspaper. I even had people trick me into a radio interview saying they wanted to like interview me to see what I'd done, and then just be like, what's your education? And like every way that I was unconventional, just trapping me in questions and sabotage on the radio. And people just like just poking fun at this, like, who the heck does she think she is energy. And I just felt so defeated. Like, I've worked so hard thinking one day I would just be successful and people would respect me. And now I'm successful. I'm being torn apart. Like, but then there was this next level thing that came in for me. And I had always taken a stand for women. But this really made me take a stand for women, because the feeling was like, I was featured in the newspaper, and it was like the architect that built the house got applauded. The salesman who sold the house got applauded, but the girl who bought the house got dragged through the mud in that article. And that was not lost on me. And so I started talking about normalizing big money in the hands of women. And I started talking about women in a really impactful way. And at first that was fantastic. But then all of a sudden, I started getting really negative feedback that I was speaking to women only. And a lot of people coming and being very upset that I would say, hello, gorgeous women, hello, woman, hello, gorgeous women, hello, woman. People got very upset with me about that. And I didn't really know what to do, because that was my brand. That's the way Alpha Femme is, the way I always talked. I talked to women, and I just didn't really know what to do. And so for the next year, I stopped saying she, I stopped saying women. I always addressed they, hello, gorgeous people. And I started to dilute my message. Because I don't want to hurt, and I don't want to get misunderstood, and I was trying to just like figure out how to just stop the projections. But recently something quite fabulous happened. And sometimes what happens is that things have to like explode. And so at the end of last year, there was an explosion. Anybody that had anything they wanted to say about how much they don't like me and what they don't agree with had a field day on the internet. And there was a blow up. Any single thing anybody didn't like about me, they just said it all. It was one of the most painful nights of my life. It lasted about 4 days, this whole thing. I couldn't sleep. I was just like, what is happening? What do I do with this? I thought being successful is the key. Being rich is the key. Being good is the key. Being in a good relationship is the key. And now I'm questioning everything. What the heck is going on? And I have spent a lot of this beginning of this year in deep contemplation about my entire journey and what has happened. Because there's so much off about it. There's so much off about the fact that you think once you're successful, you're going to be celebrated, and instead you get projected upon. There's so much to be said about you finally reclaim yourself and people preferred you invisible. It becomes like you could be less of you for your whole life just to help certain people feel more comfortable. You really could if you wanted. And I had to make that decision. Like, what do I choose? Do I be small or what? What do we do? And so I've had very deep looks at my entire journey, and I'm going to tell you what I realized. I have a very unique story. And I also have a very unique energetic makeup. So for those of you who know human design, is anybody here a 3-5 in human design? Just out of curiosity. So I'm a 3-5 in human design. And what I started to learn about myself is that basically I'm a trial by fire kind of person. So learning like a phoenix in the fire. And then also there's this like leader that's also projected upon massively. So I'm going to make mistakes and I'm going to be projected on. Like that is my energetic makeup. Okay. So I decided to really start looking even more and think even more about what this means for me. And I realized my gift, my beautiful thing about me is that every time something bad happens in my life, I always bounce back and I can teach from it. And the other part of me, which is the 5 line, sometimes forgets that the antidote to being projected upon is to just lead my butt off. And instead of leading my butt off, I take a step back and wonder why people are projecting. Like, what can I learn? What have I done wrong? How do I change it? And the reason I say, what can I learn? What have I done wrong? How do I change it? Is because the first line is a 3 line, and the 3 line means I've probably done something wrong. Like, let's just be very honest. This 3 line is probably destined to keep making mistakes and learning my whole life. So my first thought is always, okay, what have I done wrong? Let me look at it. To a fault, I ask myself that. What have I done wrong? How do I fix it? And so recently I had a conversation with a client that's been a client of mine for a very long time. And we were talking about human design. And she is brilliant with human design. And she was talking to me about, the 5 line and how it works. And I'm just like, you know what? This is the thing. This is the big piece of the puzzle that I haven't been stepping into, is that, yes, I'm going to make mistakes, but I'm going to leave my butt off the whole time. What changed every single step of the way for me, and what took me from nothing to $20,000 months, was an identity shift. And what took me from $20,000 months to $100,000 months was an identity shift. And what took me from $100,000 months to $1 million months was an identity shift. And what took me from being able to make $1 million in a month to being able to make $1 million in a week, and then we've also even had $1 million days, was an identity shift. And that identity shift changed the kind of clients that came into my world. I got much more solid people in my world. People who were there for the right reasons, who already knew they were capable, who just wanted to do it with me, instead of people who didn't think they were capable, but thought if they paid me enough to become capable. Such a different thing. People who didn't just listen to me and see the money and just eradicate everything I was saying, but that actually had the bandwidth, thank you, Michael, actually had the bandwidth to listen to what I was saying and hear everything I was saying. That money is the byproduct of the people that we become. That it's not just about the money. Even if I talk about money, even if I celebrate money, even if I celebrate clients that make tons of money, what I really do is you come behind the scenes of my life and you come learn everything else that makes that possible, and not just see, money. I want to make money, pay this person, learn to make money. The people who had the energetic bandwidth to listen to everything I said and actually hear all of it and go, this is freaking brilliant. Now, I have been in this room with you for quite a few days now. And during these days, we've talked about unconventional stuff, and we have talked about money. And I have seen you nodding, and I've seen the comments coming in, and it has been a very, 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 very awesome experience, because I've read your posts and I've read your comments in the group and I've read everything. And I have yet to see one person miss the point in this masterclass so far. I have seen people say this masterclass is so next level because of this, this, this. And when I read the this, I'm like, you freaking get it. You get it, you got it, you get it, you got it, you get it, you got it, you get it, you got it. And every day since the beginning of this master course, I have been so grateful for the people in this room, but something changed. I didn't make a big declaration on social media and say to the world it was going to change. It's something that changed inside of me. It was not a performative change. It was a decision inside that people are capable of holding their power, and I am capable of holding mine. And no matter what happens, if I keep leading and I'm honest about my growth and I share what I learn, I'm going places and people are coming with me, and that's it. And the more honest and truthful and real these stories are, the easier they are for you to understand. They're like an inch away for you. You've had a 20K month, you could have $1 million year. You've had $100,000 month, you could have $1 million month. Just like that. And as a matter of fact, what I've come to realize is that strategy creates a logical understanding for how you can make more. Identity shifts exponentially skyrocket. And it makes no sense. And then you wonder how to do it until one day you wonder how you did it, because it wasn't what you did, it was who you were when you did it. It was the identity shift that took you. And that is an unconventional thought to have. Now, where did the block occur for me? The block occurred in where the difficulties were all across the board. Very big difficulty every single time. What I bumped into every single time was, am I allowed to be this person? Am I allowed to claim this reality? Because I always thought someone would give it to me. And it has been an interesting journey to say, okay, there's things that I've had a hard time getting behind. I'm going to give you a couple of examples. I've got to take a flight somewhere, a flight from, let's say, Montreal to Toronto. And there's an option where I can sit on a Porter flight for like $500 and it will get me to Toronto. Or I can take an Air Canada flight that costs $1,200 and it will get me to Toronto. And it was difficult for me to choose the Air Canada flight because both flights take me from one place to the other. What does it matter? So I chose the Porter flight, except the Porter flight doesn't have room for my luggage. And then I've got this beautiful luggage that isn't taken care of properly. Okay, fine, I'll travel Air Canada. But then I could also fly private, but that's ridiculous. I'm not going to spend $10,000 on a plane ride. But then I end up taking Air Canada and something happens and there's a delay. And then I miss a call where the client pays me $10,000, in which case I should have taken the private flight. I've got to decide I matter. Nobody's going to make the Air Canada flight go faster for me. Nobody's going to make the Porter flight more comfortable for my luggage. But if I don't make the big moves, it's the clients that are waiting for me on the other side that don't get their phone call. There's moves I've had to make that are so weird to me. Like, I can't possibly do that. I can't charter a plane. But it's like, but if I don't, I'm going to lose more money on the tarmac than I will on the flight. When did that ever become a thing? This is an identity shift. The way you spend money. There does come a time eventually where it's like, if I don't spend this, I spend it. But one is a great experience and it's a terrible one. You start to realize, and this is a good question, like, how do you know when you're due for your next identity shift? And I feel it's when the identity that you're in keeps causing issues. It's like you're having a breakdown in the current identity all the time. It's the simplest little things, but it's like, it doesn't work. 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 And so the biggest thing that has helped me do this has been the understanding of who I am. And the liberation of saying, if this is who I am, then I've got to learn and I've got to grow and I've got to change, even if it makes no sense. And I might get judged and I might get projected upon, but that's who I am. It's been understanding my identity and shifting my identity and understanding my identity and shifting my identity and understanding my identity and shifting my identity over and over and over again. And I'm going to bring someone in here today to talk to you because for two reasons. First of all, this person is one of the most successful people I know in helping people understand their own identities. And I have seen her do this work, not just through human design, but I have seen her do this work with her clients in VIP events, helping them embody their brand, bringing them in and letting them actually become themselves. In her presence, people become themselves. I can't really explain it. And I have been so lucky to be this person's mentor since 2019, the first one. She's a teacher. She's absolutely brilliant. And she's doing human design on the side. She wants to grow this part of her. And in this work that she did, I watched her go from being a school teacher to a multimillionaire. I watched her go and raise 3 kids as a single mom during the pandemic and go through a divorce like you've never seen class like this in your entire life. I've seen this person shift her identity time and time and time again. And I've seen her embody so many different identities in such power and grace. She is a woman. She is a mom. She is she's got a new partner now, and they're like the hottest couple ever together. She's a mom to her kids, and she's a mom to the family kids. We've got 5 kids between them now. She's a businesswoman. She's a supermodel. She's a genius. And the thing is, she helps people become the greatest version of themselves through her coaching, her mentoring, and through human design. And she is so unconventional in so many different ways. And what I love about this person I want to bring forward today is that she made different choices than Jaclyn did. When things didn't go well and weren't working in her marriage, she made a different decision, and she made extraordinarily strong choices along the way. And I watched her thrive and succeed and course correct and pivot. And I admire her so much because I have that 3-5 and she has a 5-1 in human design. So that 5 that I've often struggled with, I've seen her thrive in. And when I say it's an honor and a privilege to have been her mentor since 2017 or 2019, it's because in the conversations and the coaching that we've had, I've often stopped her and said, if people could listen to our conversations, if it was possible for people to just listen to us talk to each other, I think they would just be mind blown by the whole freaking thing. These coaching calls are worth $1 million. The conversation I have with this person is out of this world. She's a genius. She's stunning inside and out. She's gifted beyond belief. And I love her so freaking deeply. And I can tell you there's people in this world that are successful. And then behind the scenes, you're like, yeah, she's successful, but there's no but. This person's a masterpiece. I love her. She has become one of the most dearest, closest people to me. And I've grown as a person by mentoring her. As she's grown, I've grown, and wanting to support her, I've grown. She's been the reason for so much of my ascension. She's bold, she's brave, she's completely willing to lead. And I would love to present her to you so we can get started with her telling us a little bit about herself now. Amy Elizabeth, would you come forward?
Oh my goodness, just gonna make me cry right off the bat. I love you so much. Thank you so much for that intro. And our relationship is so special. And honestly, your mentorship inside of my life and my world, you know, how the famous statement that Melanie made to me while I was going through everything was, you're going to wonder how you did it. You're going to look back and wonder, how did you do that? And I often look back and I wonder how she did that to mentor me and hold everything she was holding to support me and believe in me the way that she believed in me, and really held the vision for me so I could walk forward. So thank you, Melanie. I love you. Thank you for having me.
Well, now I'm crying. I would love for you to share with people. Obviously, I know you also have your own stuff that you want to talk about, but just to give them a perspective of like how wildly unconventional you've allowed yourself to be, and how powerfully and in your face you've claimed that, and what it's done for you.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's really only been a couple of years. I want to preface with this. I was a teacher and I lived a very conventional life, very conventional. I went to school. I, had a couple ideas in my head of what I was going to be. I went to university. I went to teachers college, not by like, I love teaching. I'm a natural teacher, but it was really just the natural thing to do, the conventional thing to do, right? So I went there, I did that, I got a job right away. Again, like, being so lucky to have gotten a job right out of teachers college. And I started teaching at like 24, I want to say. I got engaged, I got married, I had my first child at like 29, 28, 29. 27, 28, something like that, crazy. And then all of a sudden, I was like, wait a second, I think life can be a little bit different. I started to realize like I didn't even know anything else existed. That's how conventional I was, in even the way that I showed up. And I had these little edgy pieces throughout my life and style and uniqueness, but like never bold, never in your face, never the lead of who I was. And so all of a sudden I found Melanie. And I was like, what is happening? Like, what is possible out here? And my journey into entrepreneurship, actually, it started with Jac first. And I was like, whoa, what is out here? And then it led me to Melanie. And I was really just dipping my toe in the fact that there's freedom beyond what I understand. And my mind began to open. And it was 2018 was my first mastermind with you. And all I worked on inside of that mastermind, you guys, for 6 weeks, I was like, all I want to do is make my $5,000 back and I'll be happy. And I didn't have the money to do that. I was just like, okay, we're going to do it. We'll see what this is about, but I'll make my money back and I'll be okay. All I talked about inside of that mastermind was like being able to be courageous enough to talk about human design online. I was afraid that everyone was going to judge me. I was afraid that people are going to be like, what is this girl talking about? She's a teacher. I thought I was going to get in so much trouble. I thought I was like, how do I post on Facebook? All of my peers are going to see me. All of the people I went to school with, my parents, my family. So for 6 weeks, and then I finally did it in December of 2018. And at that time, my life was really my marriage was really in a very rocky place. So it's just kind of like playing with this boldness and this like ability to become myself as I was starting to feel the big shift of dynamic inside of our relationship. So going from there to now, I really just own exactly who I am. I love my boldness. I'm really able to just turn it on and know that like I get to present this and people are activated. I understand myself so deeply that it brings me so much joy to be myself and to talk about what I want to talk about, to create a business and grow my business the way that I want to as a projector. That was really important inside of our coaching too, to own being a projector, to own being a single mother when my marriage completely ended, to own being able to have success and being able to do it all on my terms. So it's become a very dominant force inside of my business and my brand to be able to be me and to boldly own what I own and shift my identities as many times as I want to through inspiration and downloads and growth, and be able to grow into that next identity time and time again. And honestly, I used to hate change, and now I'm just like so excited. I'm like, what's the next change? Let's go.
That is so freaking cool. And what I love is there's been so many versions of you even. I look back at pictures of you when you were first pregnant with Hendrix and you looked so freaking cool. Even like there was this one version of you, and then there was this other, like the bleach blonde hair and then the darker hair and like different styles of you and different ways of you. And you nailed every single one of them. Like you've been a redhead, brown hair, bleach blonde, like you've been every single style. You've been you nail every time. You nail it all.
Thank you. Thank you. But I find that's the fun, right? And anyone that's a fifth line here, you're going to really resonate with that, is that these identities are truly part of you that need to come to life. And you are the one that's birthing that. And I see each of these, especially inside of my brand and the transition and the identities. I'm like, that's what I was going through during that time. Like I can pin it and be like, when I was bleach blonde, that's what was happening. When I was a redhead, that's what was going on behind the scenes over there. Right. So it's like these milestones in my business that weren't on the forefront. My identity was on the forefront of what people would see of me, but behind the scenes, who I was becoming, what I was holding, what I was, navigating, how I was growing was really what I remember as the identity.
That was, I think of all the things, this is one of my greatest privileges in all this, like being the person that sees behind the scenes with certain people who, because it's very difficult to know who's who behind the scenes. Like what are their hearts like? What are their minds like? How do they treat people? Who are they really behind the scenes? And watching Amy do what she did in the front lines and having those conversations with her in the back, days where she would write posts that had people crying, like you're speaking to my soul, like her strength, her potency, her words, her clients having the most groundbreaking shifts, people praising her on the internet, and she's being so brave and so strong and being so honest about how brave and strong she was being, and coming to these coaching calls with her entire self, with just fully cracked open, like so ready. She was one of the most consistent clients, like did not miss a coaching call, did not utilize the coaching so effectively, such an incredible protege, such an amazing mentee. Like, use the coaching in a way that I was like, your clients are so lucky to have you. If you're going to use coaching like this, I can only imagine what it's like to be in one of your containers, like watching integrity through and through and through and through and through and through and all of the phases. It was just like, we cried together so many times. We laughed together so many times. The people she helped transform, it's been out of this world to watch people emerge like so next level, coming out of the things she's taught and some of the events. Because recently, could you talk a little bit even about some of the events? People have met you in person. You've helped people do like brand immersions even recently, and those have been insane. I've seen people come out of your stuff like, this person doesn't even look the same anymore.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's been like my obsession and growth inside of this industry has really been like, again, this like refinement. And I have such a vision, right? And in my unconventionalness, I have this really artistic mind that like I see things in my mind and I'm like, okay, I just have to see this in real life, like I have to like bring this to life in whatever way that is. So when people come into my world and my coaching or inside of my container, my VIP, which was called Rare, it was all about bringing their rarity forward. So getting to talk to someone and hear them and hear like where they want to go and what they see. And then at the same time, seeing their human design and their chart and being like, oh my gosh, this is where they're playing small. And like, this is what they're made for, and this boldness. And, this is who they want to become. And just like putting this puzzle together to bring it to life has been so fulfilling for me and feeling like the most success, because they're really seeing themselves as like the truest version of themselves. And when like we go to the grocery store and when we like hop in our car and go for a drive, we're not always the fullest versions of ourselves, right? We're not who we're becoming, we're who we are right now. So to be able to hold the power to say, well, this is who I'm becoming, and how do I refine every single day? And then to have the opportunity to just like walk out that door and be like, well, today I'm her. Today I'm showing up as her, and today I am being her, and to feel what that feels like. You never go back from that moment. So it was so powerful to do that Rare experience. And the clients there were just like, oh, everything to me.
I feel like this is really what's fascinating about, I want to say like our segment of this industry, because there's so many different pieces of this coaching industry. But when you think about it, so Jaclyn that you met yesterday was Amy's first coach. And later down the line, Amy coached Jaclyn, and Amy's the one who introduced Jaclyn to me. And then so the whole thing was like so written in the stars that we would all end up knowing each other. It's kind of mind boggling how we all come together in this beautiful, like God, Mother Nature, the universe orchestrated this walk. It was like, okay, meet. This is going to be great. And just watching this journey unfold for all of us. But where I've really loved watching Amy thrive, and it's funny because different clients of mine, we connect for different reasons, right? And so one of the places I really connected with Amy is in the whole brand and identity piece. And I think that has a lot to do with our 5-line and our leadership in that area. But she really has built a multiple 7-figure business through Instagram, like and Facebook, like just there is no big complicated anything. Like she just did the things. She showed up constantly. She built this extraordinary brand, this incredible presence. She self-appointed herself big deal of the world, and the whole world said, okay. People transformed like crazy through her work. And it's just been so beautiful for her to give people permission every day through her giving herself permission. It really just is, she rises, they rise. She rises, they rise. She rises, they rise. She rises, they rise. And she just keeps doing it over and over and over again. She's such a portal for transformation, and she's brilliant. Like brand is a very, very strong thing for her. She's got it. She's got the eye. She's got the vibe. She just knows how to do it. And what's so cool is when people hang out with her and do her work, I just watch their brands change. I watch everything they're doing change. It's like they give themselves permission to be. She gives herself permission to be, and then they give themselves permission to be. She's such a portal for that. And so it's been really unconventional to see like this person that went from a traditional education to get all her credentials and do every single thing, all the ducks all in a row, one day just decides, I'm going to go do my own thing, my own way. I'm going to learn the way I feel like I want to learn. Just created her own thing. And from her own essence, yep, she's Canadian. Jaclyn, Amy, and I, all 3 Canadian. And she just went. She just did the freaking thing. And so she nailed it conventional, and she nailed it unconventional. She's basically here to say, You have the education or you don't, I don't really care. You got the relationship or you don't, I don't really care. You have the confidence now or you don't, I don't really care. You look like this now or you look like that now, I don't really care. It doesn't matter where you are and where you started. Let's just find who you are. And the activation, the calibration I've watched people have in her work is just mind boggling. And just being in her presence as her mentor, I felt it for myself. It's just this effortless thing that happens being around her. She's brilliant, but she's also just an activator in the way she is, which is so incredible.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And I think like going back into the shift, because a lot of people will see my brand and see my presence online and assume things, especially as a fifth line, right? You have it so easy. Of course you can do this. And a lot of what I was going through and have gone through, I do keep quite personal. So I'm not a completely open book. I try to be very vulnerable in my posts, but a lot of people will not know what it's about. So a big shift of me being able to own it was really coming from the decision to move from conventional to unconventional. Like that was a very big choice for me. So in 2018 into 2019, I found out that I was pregnant with my third, right as I got some news about my ex-husband and found out what he was going through and what he was moving through, which was really heavy and really dark. And then I literally was like, oh my gosh, like how am I going to do this? I remember going to work in February and being like, I am having like a panic attack. Like I'm pregnant. Like what is happening? Like I can't do this. And I was like, okay, I'm going to take a leave. I'm going to take, like, I didn't even take sick days, you know, and I'm just going to I'm going to take a leave because there's also this other option out there for me that I've been slowly building behind the scenes. And that was my first like actual choice of becoming unconventional. I did it a very safe way, you know, like tiptoed in, but I was like, I'm doing this. I remember going to my parents and being like, I'm not going back to work. And I didn't explain what was going on. They really didn't get like the home portion of it. And they're like, what? And I was like, and by the way, like, well, I'm not working. I'm going to work on my business. And you're going to see that. So be prepared, you know? And I took a lot of, even still to this day, my friend I was talking to her the other day, and she's like, Amy, you don't understand. Like, people saw you as like a teacher and you know, having your kids and this like little Instagram profile to all of a sudden like you're talking about human design and you're having 10K months and then you're having 50K months and then your marriage, and that everybody knew your husband. And that was a very, you know, like it didn't end in a very smooth way. Like it was a very big blow up of an ending. And all of a sudden you're a single mom and then you're making six figures in a month. Like she's like, it doesn't make sense to people, you know, and they don't get what you were doing behind the scenes to make the decisions that you made, to stand that the way that you were standing, to bring forward the vision of like where you were going and why you were doing this. So I think a lot of people kind of bypass, or even some of us here today, like bypass that decision to become unconventional. And they stay in this little comfort zone of, I'm going to be conventional because people are going to judge me. They're going to talk about me. I'm going to become unrelatable. They're not going to understand me. What am I going to say when I go to soccer practice with all the moms that are sitting there? And I know they're all like, what is she doing? You know, or whatever they're assuming. Right. And I had to make that decision again and again and again and again in my business and my life to be unconventional and to move from that conventional space into completely unconventional.
And what I loved about it is like doing it in the public eye and having incredible boundaries about what you were willing to share and still being super transparent about something's up. Like I'm moving through stuff right now. It wasn't about airing laundry and telling everybody everything about what was happening. It was leading energetically through everything that you were going through and just being so transparent with everything. Literally from school teacher with a tiny little network to all of a sudden this brand that just kind of exploded and all these incredible opportunities that started happening and the clients and the success and then the new relationship and with the 5 line with the super projections, it was kind of, you know, masterful to watch you do all of that and to not lose yourself in the process. I've been really impressed with the whole thing. The way you did this was really spectacular.
Thank you. And I think a big part of that too is obviously mentorship, but I experienced in the highs so many pows, you know, so many lows, so many dark days, so many times of messaging you and be like, oh my God, you know, like I there wasn't that high. Like there was consistent, like so good and bam, and even being a mom and having my kids and having this business, there's always been that need to like protect my babies and, be respectful of their dad. And even our blended family now, the boys are older, and like to respect them in their teenage years of like, their friends seeing me online and even our families and whatnot. But there's always been this like, I get to do this and I get to be this and I get to activate and bring all of myself online. And I also get to, hold my integrity behind the scenes and move through what I have to move through and show up with the energy that's going to be supportive of the growth of whatever's going on there, learn about it, and then bring that forward inside a business.
And what I also love about Amy, for everyone to know this, is like she really did build her business through referrals in a massive way, because the people, she didn't do the very like gimmicky marketing that was all about, you should hire me because, or try, any kind of very, very pushy marketing. What blew me away with her the most is that a lot of people would hire her under the surface. Like I remember watching her social media sometimes and seeing like, gosh, it looks a little quiet. Like a lot of people just watch and are like, honestly scared of her when they don't know her. It's so often this experience of like, oh my gosh, you're so nice. You're so, I never would have thought of that when I looked at your profile. People creep, they watch, they're kind of like afraid. And then they'll hire her under the radar when they've never said a word to her. They'll just go and hire her and be like, okay, I'm ready. Like, I'm going to do it. And it's just been kind of mind boggling for me also to watch her just have people refer her left and right like crazy. Like her brand also really expanded from within, because it was just, have you worked with this person? Have you had a reading from this person? Have you joined, her masterminds would just sell out, and it would all happen under the radar, seemingly invisibly. Like, how is all this happening? But it word of mouth, referrals, people just sending people her way like crazy. Anybody who'd ever worked with her, singing her praises and sending opportunities under the radar all the time. And so what I loved about this also was an opportunity for her to not work so hard on social media, which was very much an alignment for the projector self, like creating the kind of content that set her soul on fire, but then being so good at what she does. Like what built her business was an incredible brand and incredible talent at what she did. Those two things are what created the brand and what created the success, the money, the wealth, all of it.
Thank you. Yeah, it's really cool to look back and see that. And, I think part of it too was I really showed deep gratitude to the people that I was working with. Like there's, these moments where I was just like, go online and be like, oh my God, like you guys, a year ago, this was my life, and like, this is where I am now. And that's because of every single person that came into my world, every single person that trusted me, every single person that opened their heart and souls to me, every single person that shared about me. Like me growing is in this collaborative spirit and energy and gratitude towards, life is changing because of what I'm putting out there, but what's really coming back to me are these incredible, incredible people. So I've been very unafraid to go on there and like, I feel like I do this like every 6 months and be like, you guys, last year, right here, like remember, and sharing those moments of my life too, that really connect people. When I do share my kids and show those moments, my son has gone through a lot, and my kids have gone through a lot in our transition and everything, and showing them, like my kids have grown up. Like Hendrix was born in my coaching. I was pregnant. I started my podcast and he was on me. I had clients. I was breastfeeding while like having my clients. Like he's grown up inside of this industry of everyone seeing him. So it's so wild, and people connecting in that way of, it's not just the money, it's the life and it's the love, and it's everything behind the scenes that we get to really cherish as we grow with success.
And you said this, but I really want to reiterate this. Amy is one of the people who made me feel the most loved in all of my coaching. And remember this one module where I said to you, one of the things that I realized is the people who really, really succeeded, they treated me like a real person. Like I had public thank yous about Amy. She never made me feel like an invisible person. She never made me feel like a tool she used. If we nailed a call, she'd do a story about it. Like, just got my mind blown by Alpha Femme. Melanie, thank you for who you are. Like, always gave me so much love behind the scenes and front of the scenes, and always made me feel so important from the first day. Never did that thing like, oh, I'm using you for my benefit and I don't want anybody to know who you are. Like, always gave me so much love and always so transparent with the fact that I was helping. And that really gave me wings during our time together, made me feel so grateful every step of the way. She was really just, she cared about my heart a lot. And she was willing to also tell me the hard things. Like, she's one of those clients who, whenever I would go through dark times and, you know, not be leading fiercely, was willing to tell me, like, I don't know what's going on with you, but this is not the person that I know. Like, she held me to high standards even during difficult times, but she celebrated me during good times. And that's humanity. Like, she treated me like a human, and we're here today because of it.
And I think because we've grown so much together, like I've never looked at Melanie inside of our mentorship of being like, I need to beat her. Like, I've always been like, yeah, you know, you're 100 steps ahead of me. Like, you should be, you know, like that's where you should be. And it's not this thing of like, I need to get there or figure out how you do it to get there. It's like, I'm on my path and I'm going to be walking this way, but like, thank God you're 100 steps ahead of me. And we are walking at the exact same time, you know, in our own direction. So we have grown so much together over our mentorship, and it's literally been some of the most powerful elements of our coaching, where it's like we've both come together to be able to like, let's grow. I'm gonna you like saying, I'm gonna grow, and I'm gonna grow first, and I'm gonna tell you about it, and I'm gonna share with you, and me growing and you supporting me in that growth, and me coming back and being like, oh my gosh, what about this, Melanie? Like, you know, do this, or like, you know, share this with the world, you know, like these little moments where it's like, I want you to rise, and I want you to rise in the way that you're rising because you're showing me the way.
And how cool is it? Because Amy is also one of the clients that I've done collaborative work with in the past. So we did a program together in 2020 called Why They Buy, and it was a human design program all targeted to like how people buy and why. And I just launched the HD division of the Alpha HD, and Amy and I are running our first program of the HD division called Lines together. We opened like the portal for it a couple of days ago. This is not something that you can use your credit for because it's a collaboration between Amy and I, and it's not something that's just uniquely like mine. But if you didn't watch the Lines live on my Facebook page, it's really cool. I could probably share it in here for you guys as well, but it's actually, I'm so excited and I'm so blown away by the work we get to do together, because there's nothing like, first of all, there's nothing like human design, and there's nothing like the way Amy teaches it and explains it. And then beyond that, there's nothing like the way my brain works and the way Amy's brain works together in a container. And so we've been doing more and more stuff together. And I feel like the world's not even ready for what we are bringing. It's kind of masterful.
So it's so unconventional.
And today, Amy, actually, I'm so grateful she was able to make it, because today she was at the studio. She was recording snippets. For those of you who are in Lines, we're doing things a little bit differently. And Amy was in his professional studio today, getting all the like, you know, bits that we're doing done in advance. Like, she was sending me all these videos of behind the scenes, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like looks so fun, and like having so much fun there. So the program is just coming together in the most beautiful way, but that's what she's been doing all day, and then comes home and jumps on this with me. So I'm really grateful for that.
Oh my gosh, it's going to be so good. I'm so excited for it. And I'm really excited about even our fifth line conversations, because we get to speak about being a fifth line in different ways, with mine in the forefront and yours kind of behind the scenes for you, but how we both experience very similar elements of our fifth line, right? Being fifth lines, but in different ways, where mine feels, you know, like, of course I'm going to do this. Of course people are going to talk about me. Of course. And yours as the fifth line in your second number, you're like, oh, don't do that. You know, we're like, why? Yeah. So it's going to be such great conversations in there too. And even all of our clientele that we've worked with, and stories we can share of what we understand now from other lines too.
So if you could give to these incredible people that are with us tonight one extra little thing about their unconventionality, like something from history of just working with different clients, all different designs, like you have helped manifesting generators, manifestors, projectors, reflectors. Like there's not one design that you have not helped. You have helped every kind of person, every kind of profile, every kind of individual thrive. There is nobody that you've not been able to help. Like every single person that's worked with you has been able to get what they need. What could you give a group like this about being unconventional, regardless of their design? Like what would you just say as a last thing of what's important?
Stop playing small. Every single person, this every single time in different ways. They will come and be like, oh, I don't know if I can do this, or yeah, this is what I really want to do, but da, 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 da. Stop playing small. We can all see it. We all know where we're going. We all know what we want to be doing, but we're keeping ourselves small for whatever your own reason is. The unconventional way is to like rip off the mask, rip off the band-aid, make the decision, choose, and start playing in the bigness that you know you are born to be, that is true to yourself in your unique bigness, and let the world have it, because you will not look back ever. You will never regret it. You will always be like, thank God I did that. So that is my advice.
Okay, if you can, please never forget what you just said. When you look back, you will never regret it. You will always look back and think, thank God I did that.
Always.
The wisdom in that. Thank you for that, Amy. I'm so grateful for you. Thank you for coming in. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. And I'm excited for all the beautiful things that we're doing. I'm going to be transitioning into one last thing I want to talk to you about, if you're willing to stick with me for another 5 minutes. But Amy, thank you from all of us. Just like, thank you for everything. And thank you for coming on tonight.
Thank you, Melanie. And thank you, everybody. Love you guys.
Okay. So here's what I want to talk to you about really quickly. We've been getting increasing, thank you. We've been having increasing questions about the AFE, people saying like, so is coach part of the AFE? Do we get coach as part of the AFE? Yes. So I know the AFE is 18,888 and the coach program is 5,555. And this is a very big piece of why the AFE has been such a spectacular thing, is that the programs on their own are big. But if you decide to do a bundle of all the stuff, I want to help you get it all. And so I know the price is kind of mind-boggling, that it's $1,888 for the whole year or $5,555 for one program. But there's going to be more opportunities for me to explain to you all the other programs that come together. But yes, you do get coach as part of it. Now, I do want to share with you two other programs that are pretty next level, other than coach, that are good to go together, because I've had people ask, what if I'm already very, very good at coach? I'm a really good coach already. I believe I'm a very good coach, but I kind of want to learn all the magic stuff. And so that would be Impact Academy, the Impact Academy program, and the Cash program. And so, the Buyer. And so the Buyer is going to be done again live this year, and Impact Academy is also going to be done again this year. It's going to be very cool the way we do these two. One is all about social media and how to create a business beyond your wildest dreams using social media. And the other one is how you become an energetic match for people who buy. How do you create your offers, not in a way where you're pushing, manipulating, prodding people, trying to get them to do something, but rather just putting out your offers in a way where the aligned people buy. So it's less about being a seller and more about attracting a buyer, which I feel is so much more fun for me and so much more exciting. And obviously it's been the gateway in my business to multi-millions. And this is the way behind the scenes I teach my clients. And so if you're not quite sure about the coach program, you're thinking you're very good at coaching already, you're more so wanting the marketing, advertising, selling piece of the puzzle, ask your concierge about those two things. I don't know why I always say this word in very French, but ask your concierge about these two things. So either the cash is like 1,111. So it's a shorter version. And then the Buyer, which is like next level. And when you buy the Buyer, you get cash for free. Because I really think you need both. And then because they just work so beautifully together, and the energetics of cash are just out of this world. And then also Impact Academy. So if you want to ask about those are spectacular. And they are all in the AFE. So Cash, the Buyer, Impact Academy are also all in the AFE. There's one last thing I want to tell you. So the coach program. The coach program, can't say more about. If you're in here and you've been interested in becoming a coach, I'm so excited for this. Plus, I am so excited about the way that this next round is being done. And I want to share this with you. So again, 5,555 gets you the program. If you have done coach before, you get it for free this next round. And then there's this master service level I talked to you about yesterday. And so Jaclyn's running the mastermind piece of it. Like, You get to learn everything from me, and then you get coached and supported. And what I love so much about Jaclyn being in there with you is that she really helps with your heart, your mind. She does these great activations, helps you really figure out what your blocks are. She's brilliant. She's built multiple coaching businesses. She's so good at what she does. But I wanted you to meet Amy before I told you that when you do the master service level, you also have Amy in the master service level. And she's going to be blowing your whole freaking mind, helping you embody your brand, your identity, really claiming yourself fully. And what I think is interesting is if you have something that's particular to you in the coach program that feels like, you know, I don't know why this doesn't land for me, Amy may be able to help you figure it out for your particular design. Like there's an opportunity to start seeing the behind the scenes of like, why is it that everybody else, it works when they do this? And when I think of doing this, I'm like, no. And you'll be like, oh, this is why. And so she'll be able to help you adapt things to make sure that the business that you're growing is in alignment with your design. And so you have Jaclyn and Amy behind the scenes in the master service level of the coach program, both of them. And I wanted to make sure that you met Amy before I told you that, because I don't think you even understand what that means until you meet these women. And when you start hanging out with them, their brilliance just keeps being exponential. And so for those of you who are interested in that private level, which is that 15,555 level, you get the program, you get the master service level with Jaclyn and Amy. And then on top of that, you get the live calls with me, the one-on-one coaching calls that happen in front of the group. So these 3 different offers are actually quite spectacular. You can't mess it up. Whichever one you're ready for, going to be out of this world. But if you have an opportunity to work with Jaclyn and Amy, I don't think you understand the greatness of these people. And so if there's a chance for you to be able to do that middle tier, that I advocate strongly for this middle tier where you have a chance to work with both of them, because their brilliance together is next level. And what I love is this triangle of like, you know, Jaclyn was Amy's first coach, and then Amy ended up coaching Jaclyn later in life. And then they both found me. And then after that, we all became very successful. It's like the energy of the 3 of us together is quite spectacular. After having done the matrix together, we kind of realized how spectacular we are. And this is going to be quite an opportunity. So if you think this is right for you, message your concierge and make sure you get an application and see if you're able to join that level, because it would be absolutely amazing to have you as a part of that. And we're really excited about the whole thing. Now, if this is too much and you're like, but I want to work with Amy, but these numbers don't make sense. The lines program we're doing right now, it's like $222 per line, or you can buy the whole thing for $777. You can't use your credit for that though. It's something that Amy and I are doing separately. But if you wanted to work with her, you wanted to work with me, and you wanted to see different ways, this is a super affordable way, and it's kind of mind-boggling. So if you wanted information about that, you can also ask the Alpha team about it, but that's going to be quite spectacular. If you buy one line, you should, when you run your human design profile, you would either use your first or your second. Like I'm a 3-5 and he's a 5-1. So you could choose your first, your second. What I would suggest, because we're doing them in order. So we're going line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the program. Buy the one that comes first for you. So let's say I'm a 3-5, I would buy the 3 first. If Amy's a 5-1, she would buy the 1 first, so that if you love it and you realize you want to do the second line, you can get in and do the second one. If you're not sure right away that you're able to do both, if you're like, oh, I think I can only do one, do the one that comes first in the program. So if you're like, okay, holy pickles, Harry Potter, this is so good, I want the second one, you just get to jump on the bandwagon and do it when it comes after. That is my suggestion. So lines is again, 222 for 1. We also have a bundle for 2 lines. So if you just want to do your little profile, like your 2 numbers, it's 333 if you buy 2 lines, or you can buy the whole package, the whole program, which is all 6 lines, plus the finale call when you buy the whole program. And there's a Facebook group that goes with it. And then that one is 777. So if you want to buy the whole thing, you can do that for 777. You buy one for 222, or you buy your duo for 333. There are options. And if you were in the snowball that I did last year and you bought tickets for that, then there's different pricing, and you can message the Alpha Femme team about that. So I do not want to keep you any longer for today. I am so excited to present you the people that for me are some of the most extraordinary humans on the planet. So thank you for taking the time with me and with Amy and with Jaclyn. It's been such an honor to be able to showcase them, share them with you because they're such incredible people. The first module, so line 1 of the program is next week. Next Wednesday is line 1. So there's a whole week to make your decision if that feels like something that you want to do. And any questions you have about anything we've talked about so far, just message your person and they'll be able to support you in whatever purchase feels right for you. Thank you so much for today. I am very, very excited about tomorrow's module. It's going to be a good one. I look forward to seeing you. Have an amazing evening. I send you so much love and we will see you on the internet. Amy, thank you so much for your brilliance. I love you. Everyone, thank you so much. I'll see you tomorrow.
Good morning, world. On the forecast today, we have sunny skies and a clear vision. Thank you for tuning in to 1111 Alpha Femme and have a great day.
I am an unconventional person. Everything about what I believe is a little different.
No, it's a fish.